We are live here with another episode of the Green White Checkered Podcast, joined as always by my good buddy Deplorable Me. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. I'm excited. There's going to be some good racing going on tonight, but a good podcast, a lot of information we got to get out to everybody. I'm pretty stoked up about it.
Yeah, and if you have not noticed, for those that are tuning in, we are live from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're going to do a little bit of talking about our ARCS 500 miles at Indianapolis, which will be on May 26th. We'll talk a little bit about that here in just a moment. So really cool backdrop there in the podcast. Again, we'll talk about that here in just a second. First task, of course, we'll talk about Leading Edge Pro Series. They had their first race in their playoffs last Wednesday. It was a really good race at New Hampshire. Definitely was some fuel strategy involved. And then this week they go to Watkins Glen in the Trucks DP. So that's going to be a completely different track and car for those guys this Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Should be a good race.
Yeah, Ryan, those trucks, they don't turn like the cars do. That's going to be some tight racing. And, of course, as we've said before, those truck races, they're a lot less laps normally than what those Cup guys would run. So if you get yourself in a situation, you might have a hard time getting out of it. Yeah, playoff round 2 of Leading Edge Series playoffs goes to Watkins Glen. This will be a cutoff race. And so there's a number of drivers looking to get in, a couple drivers on the outside, and they really got to make a move soon.
Yeah, it's going to make the racing extremely intense. So make sure that you tune in. That'll be this Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel here that you are watching this podcast. DP, I'll throw it over to you. I have the slide ready. You put together a pretty cool paint contest. We will let you talk about that and announce the winner, what they win, and then we'll throw up the scheme that was the winner for your contest.
Yeah, so about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I put out a contest because I needed a primary scheme for the truck series this year for iRacing. So I put it out to all the drivers, and so they presented their paint schemes anonymously. Thank you to COT Tommy for taking all of those paint schemes, and then he sent them out to me, so I didn't know whose was whose. It was incredible. It was a ton of fun trying to figure out, who did this one, or this looks like it may be such and such, and just a lot of really interesting things. Ryan, if I could, would drive every one of them, and I'll probably try to be talking people into letting me drive those cars because they were amazing. But I had to pick one, and so drum roll. Congratulations to Nicholas Pressey. He was the paint scheme that I selected for next year's season. He is going sorry about that. He's going to be the proud winner of 15 iRacing dollars, and so really excited to be running that truck. OA Renovations on the hood. That's the company I work for, my brother's company, and so he's happy to see that truck. I'm happy to see that truck, and thanks to Nick Pressey for doing that.
Yeah, it's a really cool truck, really cool paint scheme. Really cool how he made the 4 kind of look like the AO Renovations logo. So good job by Nick. Shout out to him. We'll get him his prize money here shortly. But congrats again to Nick Pressey. I also entered it, but I didn't spend enough time on it, I don't think. But Nick did a really good job, as he always does. He's really good with designing those paints. So shout out to Nick. And I think Tri-Strand is also probably going to put up some type of paint contest here in the near future. So make sure you stay tuned, and you'll have another chance to potentially win maybe some iRacing dollars or some other prize, depending on what we come up with. So really cool contest. Thanks for doing that, DP. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll get just a little more participation in the next paint scheme contest.
Yeah, this was kind of the first one. We've done some paint scheme showdowns, of course, but this was the first one where a member had kind of put up some cash and said, hey, I need a scheme, and I appreciate all the guys that did that. But hopefully, yeah, this kind of starts a trend a little bit. We could get some more guys, some really cool paint schemes coming from the community, so that's really exciting.
Absolutely. And so we'll move on to obviously probably the biggest event in the near future for ARCs, the 500 miles at Indianapolis. And I know a lot of y'all listening tuned in February to the Color Clash over on NASCAR Heat 5. That race was presented by CorvetteParts.net, and they're teaming up with us once again. Shout out to Rick James. He unfortunately could not make the podcast to talk about it, but we have SKD and Stitch here, so we'll get to them in just a second. But just really cool, DP, to have CorvetteParts.net presenting this race again, a full 500 miles that ARCS drivers will be participating in at the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very realistic. Not a lot of, it's not like NASCAR Heat where we could kind of just fix damage and go about our business. This is going to be really serious. So I think the racing will be just absolutely phenomenal. And make sure you tell everyone you know about it. They're going to put up a pretty nice little prize package. We don't know exactly what yet, but I know they put some really cool stuff together for the Color Clash in February, which E-Dog ended up winning. So I'm excited to see what they're putting up and what that prize will be. But man, the drivers are going to really put on a show, DP. I'm excited for it. I'm not going to race because I don't need to come anywhere near an Indy car, but it's still going to be a blast.
Yeah, something totally different. These open wheel Indy cars, they drive totally different than the cars, of course. And we'll let Stitch and SK kind of talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, CorvetteParts.net presenting this ARCS 500 miles of Indianapolis. It's going to be an incredible deal for us, an incredible deal for Corvette Parts. So really glad to be partnering with them again.
Yeah, and there's maybe even some rumors that BJ McLeod may think about joining the field. That's still kind of up in the air. Still some, like I said, some rumors. But man, that'd be awesome to have an actual NASCAR Cup driver in the field with us. So, SK, we will start with you, buddy. I know you and Stitch and working with Rick James really been trying to put this thing together. And as always, y'all doing a great job. So tell us a little bit about it. Then we'll let Stitch talk about it after you get done. And, man, I'm excited for it.
But I'm super excited for it. Rick James has worked tirelessly with CorvetteParts.net for them to be the presenting company for this monumental race that we are holding here at ARCS. And it's definitely laying down the groundworks to an open wheel setting for a lot of the Cup guys and us to venture into everything iRacing has to offer. So a lot of practice. A lot of these guys have put in hours upon hours of practice sessions to be prepared for this race. So we're going to see a lot of awesome racing along with patience and hopefully very minimal crashes.
Yeah, and it's, again, this will be May 26th. I believe Rick James, it will be streamed on Rick James TV 1. His stream will go live right around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if I have that correct. Stitch, I know you're driving, so I'm not sure if you can hear us or if we can hear you, but what are you thinking, buddy? I know you're fast in the Indy cars, so what are you expecting?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We only have a few short days until qualifying on Friday. Unless we decide to change that, we might. I know some guys got some things going on, so we just want to make it fair for everybody. But either way, qualifying is going to be happening before the race, so we don't have a lot of time up until then. A lot of guys are fast, and when it comes down to a lot of patience, I know this past weekend iRacing had the fixed Indy 500. There was, I believe, 4 races. I know a couple of the guys had partaken in at least 1 or 2 of those. It's good preparation for what we're doing too. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone really made it through, except actually I believe Nick Pressey did make the full 200 laps. But that just goes down to it. I mean, it's a long race. There's a lot of patience that you need to utilize. You don't know when a caution's going to come out. I mean, strategy, it's night and day different than what, these guys are actually used to doing with the Cup Series. So it will be fun. It'll definitely be fun. Can't wait to hear Rick get excited. I can say that the majority of our practice races have pretty much been a photo finish or close to it. So, he'll be getting really excited up in the booth for that if we can hopefully pull that off for it. And as well as all the viewers out there. I know I'll definitely go back and watch it unless I get wrecked out. Then I probably won't want to even deal with it anymore. But hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, you never know. It's definitely a possibility, but hopefully that doesn't happen to you. I know you are going to be extremely fast. And I just want to touch on what SK was talking about, DP. We are actually in the works of kind of putting together an ARCS Indy League on iRacing, so that's still obviously in its early stages, but with SK and Stitch's help, and of course Rick James, all three of them with a very, very good Indy. I mean, they're not really Cup drivers, and DP, me and you don't need to be in Indy cars, so they're definitely the ones to help us get that off the ground. But we're going to help them and support them, and hopefully we can get some league racing in these cars. And man, that would be those things put on a show. So I'm excited for that, and we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible racing. Hopefully, those talks turn into reality. Sometimes things happen and sometimes they don't. And so I'm really excited for this next chapter. ARCS is always moving forward, always looking for that next big thing. And this ARCS 500 miles of Indianapolis, it is definitely that big thing. And so you definitely don't want to miss that. And keep your eyes out if you're somebody who's a big open wheel fan or a dirt fan or something, and you look and you say, well, they're pretty much just running stock cars. Well, there's a lot of things in the works, a lot of things to bring to fans, a lot of things to offer some new drivers that might be interested in getting into ARCS. And so keep your eyes open, keep your ears always listening for what's coming next, Ryan.
Yeah, and also potential modified series coming up that our good buddies COT Tommy and D-Bucks, they're going to be kind of heading that up. So we have a lot of really neat things happening here at ARC. So I'm proud to be a part of all of it and see all these really cool races and be able to participate. But DP, I'll throw it back to you, back to your segment that you came up with, the iRacing Origins. And I think we got Elliot with us this week, so I'll let you take it away, buddy, and take it from here.
Well, Ryan, last week we started with Dustin Painter, and he had an incredible story. And he has a lot of in real life racing as well, and so that was an incredible story from Dustin Painter. And actually, Elliot Longenecker, before we started doing this, when I first came up with the idea, I kind of told Elliot about it, and he's one of the guys that when I talked to him about it, that really made me make the decision to do it. I asked him about his story, and Elliot, you got this huge smile on your face when I started talking to you about it.
Yeah, man, it's pretty cool. It's just really interesting to hear the different backgrounds of how guys got into this, and it's fun to share the story of how we got into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Elliot, me and you, we kind of met a way back ago. You were on Xbox for maybe a little bit of time, maybe especially only a little bit of time since I had known you, and then you kind of faded away and then jumped into iRacing, and then we met later. And that's really cool that we kind of came back full circle. But I wanted to talk to you about your story, how you began. So go ahead and take us through that. Maybe we'll ask some questions.
Well, I never really had a chance to, race growing up as a kid or anything. I had dirt bikes and stuff, and so I always had a love for speed. But as far as racing goes, I kind of started about the time I was 18. I had a surgery on my foot, and so I was laid up for a while. So pulled out the old PlayStation 2 and and bought, I don't even remember which NASCAR game it was, and I just started running through a season playing against the UI, and that's kind of where it started. And then kind of left that once I, got back on my feet and got back to work and stuff. I kind of left it for quite a while. And then the coronavirus deal kind of happened, and I got the Xbox out and got NASCAR Heat 4 and bought a wheel and started running open lobbies, and that's where I met Ryan and you and some of the guys from ARCS before ARCS was even around.
Yeah, and that's an incredible story in itself. Of course, like you said, you kind of jumped over to iRacing, but you've only been on iRacing for about 11 or 12 months or so, huh?
Yeah, the NASCAR Heat 4 thing running with you guys really gave me kind of the bug, and so I just went all in and went and got a PC and got all the hardware. But yeah, I've been on iRacing for a little over 12 months. I think it's probably close to 14 months now.
Well, that's incredible because we watch how you run, and of course, this season over on Rick James TV, we'll be able to watch Monday Night Lightning and Elliott try to take on the field. But man, you're usually one of the fastest guys on the ovals when you run. And you've only had iRacing for 11 or 12 months. So a lot of the people that listen to our podcast, I'd probably say half and half maybe. A lot of them are from the Xbox side looking to get iRacing. So what would you say to that guy when he first gets iRacing that says, I want to be fast like Elliott? I guess no pun intended. I'm not really making fun. I'm just saying that, somebody gets that iRacing, they get their PC, all those things. What's the first thing you think that you would say to them so that they can be where you're at in a year?
Man, practice time for me was the biggest thing. Just hopping in test sessions by myself, finding what works, finding what doesn't work, putting in, lap after lap after lap. That's what worked for me because I don't have a lot of talent. So most of mine is just based on lots of practice. Now there's other guys like Lurkin that can come in based on talent and just be fast. But I'd say to the guys that come in and off the heat side or whatever and aren't fast right off the bat, I'd tell them just put in practice time, man. It's all about seat time, and don't get discouraged. You'll get there.
Well, Elliott, I definitely appreciate your time. I appreciate your story. Anything you want to add to the end of that?
Man, I'm just looking forward to what we got coming in season 2, Monday Night Lightning and season 2 of the Truck Series, and it's going to be exciting. And this league growing on the iRacing side is really exciting, and we've got a bright future ahead of us. And encourage guys to, when they can afford it or when they can, get over to iRacing and join us.
Yeah. All right, Go ahead, buddy.
DP, I was just going to throw in, you have no idea how many messages I have gotten from Elliott from the time NASCAR Heat 4 swapped to Heat 5, at least once a month, I would say, hey, man, you got iRacing yet? You got iRacing yet? And I always just like, no, I don't have it. No. And then finally got it, and it's really cool that, we got to link back up, Elliott. I had fun racing with you in Heat 4. And I don't see you much on the track because you're usually up front and I'm usually mid-pack, but it's still fun racing with you. And like you said, I'm excited for the future.
Man, that's completely opposite of how it was in the Heat days because I remember following you and losing you as you drove away from me every race.
I guess you're just better at real racing than I am. But season 2, I'm excited to actually get you on the track. I know you did race control for us in season 1, and I want to thank you for that. I know so badly you wanted to be out on that track. Just watching Cody and Trey Kirk and Jason and some of these really, really fast guys just kind of walking away. I knew you were gritting your teeth up there in the race control booth. So I'm excited to get you on the track and man, get somebody to beat Cody. I'm tired of Cody winning.
Yeah, it might be time to pull out the old short track bounty on Cody.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So thank you, Elliot. Thank you for everything that you do. You're a huge part of the ARC's iRacing side of things, as me and DP and Tommy are still obviously learning on the iRacing side of things. So you and Cody have been a huge help. So appreciate you taking time out of your evening to tell us your story. And, man, we'll see you at Charlotte here pretty soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for having me in ARCS and allowing me to help get this iRacing thing started. I've really enjoyed it and been amazed at all the great racers we have on this side.
All right. So, DP, we'll move into this week in ARCS, or the previous week. And about the only thing I can say is Crotum, because the dude won 3 of our 4 races that we ran on the Xbox side of things. He got his 12th win of the year in ARCS. I can't even believe it, but you make a joke. He's running in trucks and Xfinity, and it is our lower tier, but man, there's still some fast guys in there, so it's really cool to see Crotum doing so well. But he did take the win at Dover in the trucks, but what an accomplishment! 12 wins, man. That's insane.
Yeah, Ryan, it's hard not to figure out reasons to be mad at that continues to just kick your butt. Crotum is doing that. But he's making us faster. He's making us better. And so shout out to Crotum. He's doing a great job. I'm sure that there are guys that are really, really close. We look at Marsh and TNT. I think that's a really strong battle that he has there. There was some rivalries that Crotum had in the truck series. That's kind of fizzled out a little bit. But definitely always a story there, always something to talk about. And he kind of brings that excitement to ARC. So good for him. That's good television, Ryan.
Absolutely, and you can see our actually, it's not our new logos. We've had them for a while. Rick James, helps us out a lot with a lot of our graphics and stuff like that. And I had just completely forgotten that he had made these for us. So there you see the ARCS 3, the third tier, which is the trucks. And then you have the second tier, which is obviously our Xfinity series, which Crotum took home that win as well. Not only did he take home the win, DP, he qualified on pole, won stage 1, won stage 2, and won the race, and had the fastest lap. I mean, you can't dominate a race much more than he did Friday night. So I know you were in that race. You want to tell us a little bit about that race and how it went?
Yeah, those guys always race so clean. A strategy game on the last stage, which kind of turned out to be a precursor to what was to come, I think, at Dover. But Crotum, when you can run those speeds and you can stay right there, I'm going to tell you, we run those heat races in A squared at the beginning of the race. Usually those are not broadcasted for the fans. But I was watching Crotum's heat race and I found myself just following on his camera, like, where's he putting his tires? And believe it or not, when you got a guy that can run the exact same line over and over and over again, those are the reasons. And so Xfinity, I mean, that was part of it. You have to be consistent, especially at a track like Dover. It was easy for him to get into a groove and move around that track. And then some of us, we could get into a groove for a second, but you get out of it. It takes you 2 or 3 laps to get it back. And that's kind of where the time went. So good run at Dover for Crotum as well.
Absolutely. And yeah, like you said, it's just, anytime I see someone that's a little bit faster than me, you ride behind them, you watch them. I do the same thing in iRacing, watching Cody and Elliot and all of those guys, just trying to figure out what line they're running, when they're letting off, when they're getting back in the gas. It definitely helps a lot. But, man, I hate to say that I'm watching a kid drive, but that's what I'm doing. Crotum is just fast, and he has proven it this year. So we'll move to TNT. They were at Phoenix. Unfortunately, I was out of town, missed that race, DP, but Marsh Morrow, I heard someone before, I think it might have been in trucks after the truck race was over, somebody said something about Phoenix was Marsh Morrow's favorite track, and I knew y'all were doomed. So tell us about that race. I did watch a little bit of it Thursday night, but unfortunately didn't get to race. But Marshmallow just basically looked like he dominated most of the race, but definitely got that win.
Yeah, it turned out to be one of those barn burners again. Marshmallow has been totally dominant, kind of a mirror to Crotum in the Xfinity and Truck Series. Those two guys are coming into these races, and they're just flat kicking our butts. And so, good job for Marsh. Phoenix is one of those tracks that it's definitely a driver's track, but I think it's also more like a niche track. I think that there's very few number of drivers that can run that track and run it well. Marshmallow being one of those guys for sure. He was the best at TNT. He gets the win.
Yeah, he's. I don't know if it was that his 5th or 6th win of the year. I lost.
Counting?
Yeah, I lost count after like win 2. So yeah, who's? I'm not keeping count. So, but good win.
That's Tommy's job.
Yeah, he's the points man for TNT, so he can keep up with that. But then, of course, A Squared Crotum got the win. Boss actually sat on the pole. He also won Heat 1. Crotum won Heat 2. Stage 1 winner was Jacket. There was kind of a crazy finish for Stage 1, and Jacket kind of just cruised by and took the stage. I took Stage 2 only because I was saving fuel, but it still counts as 10 points. And then, of course, Crotum was your race winner. And he's actually in here, so let's see if we can get a word with Crotum. Crotum, we were talking about how you won 3 out of the 4 races this week. Do you like Dover, or are you just that damn good?
I like Dover. Pretty fun track. It's a groove track for sure.
Yeah, well, you definitely figured the groove out, that's for sure. So we were talking earlier, you have 12 wins in ARCs, by far the most out of everyone. Tell us how that makes you feel. I mean, even though you're running the trucks and the Xfinity, you're also running in TNT and A Squared. There's a lot of really good competition that you're going up against every night, and to have 12 wins, man, that's very impressive for your year so far.
I mean, yeah, 12 wins is nothing to be ashamed of, I know. But I'd rather have it more on the cup side of things, because people have pointed out multiple times that there's a difference, a skill difference. There's a wide skill range in ARCs, as we know. And when you go down to those Tier 3 and those Tier 2 races, you can see it. Like, people are they're developing, getting more talented, and you go to the cup races, and it's a lot harder to win, and it's obvious. I'd rather have my wins in Cup more than I would those 2nd and 3rd tiers, but it's still nice to get them.
Oh, absolutely. I'll take a win anywhere. I only have 1 on the year, so you got 11 more wins than I have starts for the season. So, it's a win's always good, but we appreciate you coming in and talking with us. And I hate to say it, but we'll be at the Indy Road Course for trucks and Xfinity this week, so I know that you like road courses as well, so you might get win 13 and 14, but we'll try and stop you.
I hope so.
DP, I'm no good at road courses, so I'm out. But speaking of, well, we'll touch base on Monday Night Lightning real quick. Obviously, finished up our season at Darlington, and my cousin Cody took home the championship for season 1. Obviously, no race tonight as we are in a break before we start season 2. But season 2, our first race will be at Charlotte, 300 miles DP in the new next-gen car. So that is going to be really exciting. Cannot wait. You'll be helping race control, I believe. So you'll be up there telling us what we're doing wrong. But I'm excited to get going. I'm going to try and at least be consistent and not miss any races and just see what I can do. But it'll be here before you know it, DP.
Yeah, what a way to start season 2. 300 miles at Charlotte. Charlotte is a great track. Love that track. These cars are going to be pedal to the metal. I foresee some extremely exciting races. It's going to be important that those guys kind of keep it together, keep their heads cool around each other. I think that the coolest head will prevail at the end of that one, but we still have a long way until the start of season 2. I believe that we are uh, recruiting for trucks for season 2. So if there's somebody out there listening that would be interested in joining ARC, season 2 for the truck series will begin the Saturday before the Coke 600. And so make sure that you get with Ryan Pinnell, myself, Elliot Longenecker, Cody Pinnell. Hit us up and let us know you're interested in joining.
Yes, sir, DP. Sorry, I was having a mic issue there. Yeah, we're actually recruiting for both of our truck series, so not only on the iRacing side, but the Xbox side as well. Put a few posts out there on the Facebook communities. Got a few new people that are interested, so definitely if you have somebody that's new to NASCAR Heat or maybe even new to iRacing, and they're looking for a home to race, ARCS is definitely a good place to be and a good place to race. We try and treat each other like family and friends. We try and keep the members as involved as possible, doing these paint contests, and we have the season 1 awards ceremony that will be happening here probably within the next month or two. So just a lot of really cool things to keep members involved. So if you have someone that is interested, definitely let us know. We'll get them in the Discord. We'll get them in touch with one of our admins and, get them to run some practice and, make sure they are aware of, the rules and regulations and get them in to where they can start learning and getting better. That's kind of what we're all about there, DP.
Absolutely. ARCS is there's a lot of leagues in ARCS, and so it's hard to call ARCS a league. It's more like a community, and we kind of try to show that possibly can. And these are great ways for you to get involved. The Truck Series runs on Tuesday nights. The iRacing Truck Series runs on Saturday nights. All kinds of fun runs and different big races that we're doing. Of course, ARC's 500 miles of Indy. We could just go on and on and on, Ryan. There's a lot of wheels turning, a lot of hands and heads involved in this thing, and we are rocking and rolling.
Yes, we are. Speaking of the Indy 500, I'm going to bring that graphic back up. We got Rick James in here with us. He was able to step away for just a minute to talk with us. Rick, I gave him kind of an overview of Corvette Parts presenting for us again, but just run through a little bit about, you're closer with those guys and you really made this happen. So just wanted to let you let everyone know how serious and how big of a deal this is going to be.
Thanks, Ryan. Big shout out to everybody. Thanks for tuning into the show. Yeah, this is going to be the second event that ARCS and CorvetteParts.net has partnered together, and I can't say enough about all of those folks there. Tom, TJ, Shane, everybody over there at Keen Parts has been just so fantastic to us and giving us this opportunity to put their name on our race. And it's our pleasure to partner with the good folks over at CorvetteParts.net once again. I'm so excited for this because this is going to be the biggest IndyCar race that ARCS has ever done. And I think not the first IndyCar race that ARCS has done, but certainly one where we get to show off all of our talent. The 500 miles of Indianapolis is going to be exactly that. 200 laps, 500 miles. It's the race we all come to know and love. Visually, it's going to be gorgeous. We're going to have classic liveries. We're going to have some new ones. We're going to have some twists on some of your favorite paint schemes from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s and today. If there's any fans of racing, any fans of Indy cars, just any fans of sport in general, this is something that you have to tune into. May 26th, 8 p.m. on twitch.tv/RickJamesTV1. CorvetteParts.net is presenting what I think is going to be our biggest race of the season, of the calendar year. Thus far, that 500 miles of Indianapolis is going to be something to behold. Matter of fact, just this morning, we started a countdown. There's 9 days to that green flag. Shane and I from Keen Parts are talking every single day, trying to really maximize the festivities and how much fun This is going to be for everybody involved. This is a can't miss race. There's no subscription. It doesn't cost a dime to watch. You tune in for free and come have some fun in the booth with us. I can't wait. I'm thrilled.
Yeah, and we mentioned the color clash that happened earlier, and of course that was on a different platform on Heat 5, and I talked to DP offline. The ability of iRacing, obviously, just the graphics that it can put out, and the show that it presents to the fans is just out of this world. I know you're excited, but how excited are you to call a race that we're partnering with Corvette Parts and actually get to be on the iRacing platform, which is, just a step above because of the ability it has on the computer?
It's no secret to everybody in the community that I'm head over heels in love with iRacing and just the gorgeous product that it presents, and it allows us to present. And this collaboration from so many folks at ARCS feels so good because it's coming together. Got to give a shout out to Alex Simkowski, Stephen Downton, of course, you, Ryan, Terry on the other side as well. There's just so much work and effort that goes into this, not to mention the folks at Keen Parts that are giving us a fantastic prize pack. There's a Jeffrey Earnhardt diecast, a special Scooby-Doo paint scheme crew member shirts that's being given away to the winner of this race as well. A couple other Keen Parts shirts, a lot of other stuff with CorvetteParts.net branding, and without them, this quite literally isn't possible. I say that a lot. You're going to hear me say that 5-6 times a week, but it isn't. It just isn't. We wouldn't be able to put on a show of this magnitude without Tom, TJ, Shane, everybody over there at Keen Parts, and their help allows us to keep putting out better and better products. So February was the color clash. You mentioned that earlier. That amazing shootout race, almost IROC style visually that we had at Daytona. Now we're going to do 500 miles at Indianapolis. And Ryan, my mind immediately races to the future. What's next? Are we going to do an endurance race at Le Mans with CorvetteParts.net? Are we going to do a multi-class event with them? The future is certainly bright, not only for CorvetteParts.net, but ARCS as well. And hopefully this is just another step in a very long and lucrative partnership between the Alliance Racing Championship Series and CorvetteParts.net.
Absolutely. I know I'm excited, and man, I wish I was better at Indy cars because that sounds like a great prize package, but there's no way that Ryan Pinnell would ever enter victory lane in an Indy car. So maybe we'll do another stock car partnership here in the future where I actually have a shot of getting some of that prize package.
Ryan, if you're not going to be racing next Wednesday night at 8 p.m., I might just keep your seat in the booth warm, buddy, because the best seat in the house is going to be in the booth calling this one. It's too close to call right now. We even have last-minute entrants that are getting brand-new computer pieces shipped to them just for this race. The drivers are taking this as serious as I've seen all season long. They're pounding down our doors and DMing us to no end, trying to find spots in this race, and they're filling up quickly, Ryan. This 500 miles of Indianapolis, at least that I've seen in recent memory, has been one of the most hyped, not only ARCS, but just sim racing events, period. This is going to be something that could end up being one of those titanic moments in gaming history.
Absolutely, and you know that I love to call races with you, so if my calendar is free, you know I will be there, buddy. Thank you for taking time out of your busy evening to come and talk with us. I wanted to be able to talk to you, so I'm glad that we got to talk to you, and I'm glad you got to let the fans know about how great this event is going to be.
My pleasure. Send my love to everybody else. My love goes to everyone listening. Thanks for tuning in, guys. That's going to be next Wednesday night, May 26th, 8 p.m., the 500 miles of Indianapolis. Don't miss it.
DP, if that doesn't get you hyped up, buddy, I don't know what will.
I'm telling you what, I'm going to be in race control that night, and the bigger this thing gets, the sweatier my palms get. And so that's a good thing. That's just just one more thing that gets you pumped up, and I'm really excited to do that. there's a lot of differences when you're doing these different things. Like we're doing this podcast, and a lot of times we're drivers, and then you kind of come out and you're in the booth, you're in commentator, or you're running race control, and so there's a lot of different skills, a lot of different things. Like I said earlier, a lot of different hands going into all these things that we're doing, and so proud of Rick James, so proud of SKD, Stephen Dowden, of course, Stitch, and everybody else involved. What a great product that we're willing to bring, or that we're able to bring to the fans and to CorvetteParts.net. I can't wait 9 days.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it. So we will shift from that point over to this week in ARCS. Obviously, the trucks on Tuesday night will be at the Indy Road Course. The Xfinity Series will be at the Indy Road Course. Monday Night Lightning obviously will still be in their break, so no race tonight and no race next Monday. Then Thursday Night Thunder, we go back to Darlington as ARCS. A Squared has been to Darlington. First time that the TNT drivers will try and tame the Lady in Black. So we'll get our throwback schemes ready and see if we can't tame Darlington DP. I know that me personally, I've missed a couple races. I've finished terribly a couple races, but I do have that one win. So I was really hoping that TNT would adapt the playoff system, but Tommy told me it's not going to happen. So I guess I can dream for next year.
Yeah, no doubt. I really love Darlington. Such a super technical track. Larkin Tom Gaming, this is probably his best track, and so I think he's going to be one of the cars to beat. Of course, Marsh Morrow has been so dominant, and so it's hard to count a driver like that out. Crotum, usually very fast at this track as well. You don't want to miss that Thursday night. That's going to be one heck of a race.
Absolutely, it will, as it always is. And of course, you can catch that action on our good buddy Rick James Twitch. That is twitch.tv/RickJamesTV1. And then, of course, A Squared. They will actually be going to Kansas. If you remember, a couple weekends back, the Heat 5 servers were having some issues. No one could get logged on, so we actually missed the Kansas race. So since Coda is not in the NASCAR Heat game, we decided to go ahead and make up the Kansas race. So that will be a Highline track DP, a one lane, and a lot of slide jobs. So make sure y'all tune in Sunday night. That's going to be a lot of fun. Our buddy SKD calls that race for us on Sunday nights. We're trying to get him some help in the booth. So if you're interested and you're free on Sunday night, let us know. We'll get you in the booth, get you some commentating skill there. It's a lot of fun, DP. I love calling races. You know, I've called races with you and Rick and SK and Lurkin, and man, it's a lot of fun to watch the race. You see a different perspective of how the race goes. But I'm excited for Kansas Sunday night. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, like we talked about earlier, all kinds of different things in the works, and of course already going on in ARCS. And so if you're interested in getting your hands dirty and trying your shot, about being in the booth, that's something that is really important, that we get all of our races out to the fans and the people that want to see what's going on in ARCS. And so if you're somebody who thinks you can do that, please let us know. We're very interested in talking with you.
Absolutely. And we'll move on now to this week in NASCAR, or previous week, I guess. The Xfinity and the Cup Series was at Dover this past weekend. Xfinity race was won by Austin Cindric, and then the Cup race dominated by Kyle Larson for most of the race, but Alex Bowman ended up with the victory. And Hendrick Motorsports 1, 2, 3, 4 DP, something that has not happened in several years. Really dominating performance by those four Chevrolets. DP's internet must have finally Oh, there he goes. There he is.
Sorry about that. Mute button got me again. No, great run for Team Hendricks. Great run for them Chevys. A couple years ago, those cars weren't so fast compared to the rest of the field. They've really kind of fixed that. Kind of stinks. We'll be going to a new car next year, so all of that kind of goes out the window. But I think the big story here, though, Ryan, Kyle Larson, you dominate. About 3/4 through the race, all the broadcasters kind of went through who their ones to watch was, and every single one of them said Kyle Larson. And at the end of the race, once again, he loses the race. Yes, to a teammate. There's a lot of different things, a lot of different factors involved. But I'd love to see Kyle Larson get those wins. He's dominating. He's probably the fastest car on the track week in and week out, and he keeps figuring out ways to not win these races.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate for the 5 car, but he's definitely shown some speed all year long. So this weekend, speaking of new things, they will be at Circuit of the Americas in Texas, also known as COTA. So it's completely different. They're actually going to be allowed some practice. They're going to actually qualify. So just a completely different format this weekend, DP. And you'll kind of get to see who has some speed based off those practices and qualifying instead of, what they've been used to all year, which is basically rolling off the truck and firing it up and going green. So a little bit different format, and it'll really let these crew chiefs and drivers kind of figure out what they're doing and try and improve these cars at a track that they've never been to before.
Yeah, and I think the big story here going into COTA is going to be Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott doesn't have a win. Probably feels like he wanted to win at Daytona way back at that road course. Christopher Bell comes home with that. So Chase Elliott's going to need to figure out a way to get around Martin Truex Jr. We know that car's been fast on the ovals, and he's definitely a great road course racer. I look for him to be up front. Chase Elliott needs a win. This is his week. You got to think to try to get that done.
Absolutely. And so we will keep y'all updated, and we'll let you know next week how the COTA weekend went for the NASCAR guys and girls. Of course, now, getting to the end of our podcast, EP, our favorite segment of the week, Quiet's Ice Cream Flavor of the Week. This week he has submitted to me saying that French's mustard ice cream is his favorite ice cream of this week. He actually ordered 2 gallons of it yesterday, so if anyone needs a discount, just let Quiet know. He'll get you some mustard ice cream. Doesn't sound too good to me, but hey, who knows? Maybe you could dip a hot dog in that thing, DP.
Anybody that may have been watching this stream is probably no longer watching. That looks like the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life.
I'm sure it is, but Quiet, but he helps us. I mean, he really helps us.
I didn't think that these ice creams, I'm sorry, I didn't think that these ice creams could get any worse, and we keep figuring out ways to make them more awful. Oh my God.
Yeah, hey, it's all on Quiet. It really is. So, but DP, that's going to just about do it for us here once again. Green White Checkered Podcast. Man, we have so much coming up. It's just amazing. Again, we got the 500 miles of Indianapolis presented by Corvette Parts next Wednesday. So we'll, look at your social media. You're going to see a lot coming from ARCS Racing and Rick James and Corvette Parts, Keen Parts, all of the, the people that are putting that show together. That's going to be a really big deal. And then, of course, all of our normal racing that we stream for all the racers and the viewers and fans at home. We just appreciate everyone tuning in. Like Rick James says, it's not possible without the fans and without the viewers. Otherwise, it's just me and DP up here talking to ourselves for an hour. And I like talking to you, DP, but I don't like talking to you that much.
Yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, we try it again next week. That's what we do. Final words from you, DP. Again, no Monday Night Lightning race tonight, but you do have a little bit of a fun run tonight at COTA on iRacing. Tell us a little bit about that before we sign off.
Yeah, all of our drivers we've kind of tiered out. There's going to be a certain set of tier 1 drivers now running the next gen cup cars. And then the rest of us are going to be tier 2 running in the truck series. And so what I thought we'd do is we would put the cup cars and the trucks on the same track. We're going to run Circuit of the Americas. Wow, has that been fun practicing? These guys are pulling their hair out of their heads on both sides, trying to figure it out. So we're going to do a little class race. That should be fun. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, final thoughts. I think this was a great podcast. Shout out to Elliot for coming on and telling us his story. Great wins for Crotum. A lot of information. The Indy 500, you don't want to miss that in 9 days. There is a whole lot on the horizon here for ARCS. You do not want to miss any of this.
All I can say is your definition and my definition of fun are completely different. I will probably start that race. I don't know if I will finish. I don't even know if I can get off pit road, to be honest. So that's going to be fun for everyone that's coming out. If you still want to try and get in on it, let me and DP know. It's pretty loose structured. Nothing's too serious. We're just trying to have a little fun in between our seasons on iRacing, which can be pretty stressful and pretty intense. But that's going to just about do it here for another episode of Green White Checkered Podcast. We'll be back again next Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, same time, same place.